we're going to switch to English because we have Amy Subizarreta, who is not only an expert in safety, technology, insurance, and other topics, but recently she was herself in an accident, and she has a really I think, I mean, when first I heard about this, I thought it's like a really important story to share. So, first of all, how are you, Amy? Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Javier. Thank you for having me on your show today. I'm delighted to be here to be able to tell my story.
Yeah, when I read your recount of what happened, one thing that struck me was that you said that you should have died in this accident. Because it was pretty violent, right?
It's something that obviously you never think about. You see on television how insurance institutes are constantly crashing cars with dummies to improve safety, and you pray that one day that dummy is not you. But I sure now understand the importance of choosing a vehicle that has all the safety features that you're looking for, because one day it could save your life.
Okay, yeah, that's really important. So let's go. Start what happened exactly to you.
I was driving roughly 30, 35 miles per hour on my way to a client meeting, and I saw a car that was driving in the opposite direction. It all of a sudden jumped into my lane of traffic head on. I tried to move to the lane next to me on my far right, but I couldn't. There was another car there. So I essentially was, and I put my foot on the brakes, tried to slow down the impact as much as possible, and it obviously wasn't enough. The airbags deployed, and upon impact, I've never been in a crash, and felt such a force. But I have to tell you, I genuinely felt the cage, the crumple zone, every safety feature all come together to protect me. And it was a very positive, reassuring feeling, because I felt so helplessly, so hopeless at that moment.
I know. So, and Amy, what were the cars involved in this accident? Because that's important, right? Too, because what cars hit each other?
Well, without saying brands, I was driving a mid-size SUV, and the other car was a smaller SUV, and interesting enough, my car took more of the impact than his, and what I learned from that experience is that I've always keep my cell phone in the cup holder for emergencies, and I wasn't very familiar with the SOS system. I knew my car had it, but I had never used it before. Never contemplated ever having to use it, and that was one of the biggest takeaways. And now I'm forced with having to look for a new car, and that's one of the things that I look for, in addition to many other safety features, is having that ability to be able to access emergency assistance from a trained specialist that can use the global positioning satellite information in my vehicle and identify where I'm at, and identify first responders, and basically do a lot of that for me when in a moment where I'm potentially incapacitated or unconscious or what have you. It's just an enormous feature to have, because you could survive a crash, and unfortunately not. Every second counts after that, and so if help isn't able to get to you in time, things can dramatically change from better to worse.
Yeah. So, Amy, this what you recounted when you described the accident, it actually sounds very, very familiar to the new frontal partial test that the IHS does, which is like simulating that kind of impact, like to the front right of the vehicle at about 35 to 40 miles an hour. and what creates that immense force into the cabin. And that's exactly what happened to you, right?
It was, yes, and it was off-center. So I have also been reading the same thing, but that they've been doing frontal off-center crash tests to see how vehicles are ranking, depending on the size. And that's another thing to take into consideration. As I drive around here in South Florida, many people are driving SUVs as opposed to sedans. And so, size matters. If like in a boxing ring, you want to be in a vehicle that will fare in comparison to another vehicle. If you're driving a smaller vehicle and you're struck by a vehicle that's much larger than you definitely are in you fare less than that individual in the bigger vehicle.
Yeah, and you mentioned I don't know why you didn't want to mention the brand, but I think it's important because I mean some brands are more ahead of others in terms of technology, right? I mean, and that's like really key when you start like looking for a new car and pick up what is. I don't know why you felt uncomfortable mentioning the brand, but I think it's important also to mention that.
Well, this is the vehicle that I was driving was a midsize SUV that is made by Mercedes. And that vehicle saved my life.
Yeah, that's really incredible because Mercedes-Benz, it's been in the, I mean, they have a program basically that calls for 0 deaths by 2020, which you know a lot about the auto industry. 5 years in the auto industry, it's nothing. I mean, that's like people are already planning on those cars. I mean, they're working on those cars to be in production like 2-3 years and then like go to sell. So that, I mean, in this case, it became reality to you. I mean, all those systems that you were describing that you felt working, I mean, really did their job, right?
Absolutely. And if I could, if I knew how, I would embrace all those wonderful engineers that basically do this for a living, whether at the Insurance Institute, through even at the Mercedes plants in Germany. I commend them for constantly putting safety first for their drivers as well as for their passengers.
So, Amy, again, you're an expert. You've worked with insurance companies in the past, and now you're like doing your own thing. But now, as a real person in the real world going through this, I mean, what's your recommendation when people start looking to buy a new car and then the salesperson suggests to buy these new packages, which in most cases are options. They are not like the regular part of the equipment in the car. So, I mean, it's an investment worth making, right?
Absolutely. And soy un testigo that it does. Safety can save your life. You could do everything you can there's certain things that are going to be out of your control, Javier.
Yeah.
And when you're driving, but there are things that we can control, and those are decisions that we make. And if you're at a point in a juncture in your life where you're looking to make a new purchase, whether it's a new or used vehicle, definitely do your homework, read up on the vehicle, and make sure that the vehicle has all the safety features that you're looking for based on your not only financial situation, but in your stage of life. And I'm a mom now, and I have a small child, and so I not only need to protect myself for me, but also I have to think about.
Yeah, I mean,
making sure that my son has a mom.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of like an investment worth making, and talking about like things that you cannot control, do you know anything about the other driver? Was like he or she texting, or was like do they know anything about that? Like, was he doing something wrong?
At the moment of impact, you start thinking, oh my God, I'm here, I'm okay. I saw them get out of the vehicle, and I saw that that they were on the phone, and they were fine. I started hyperventilating. I really and felt very weak. I wasn't able to really be of help to anyone. I was essentially trying to control my breathing and wait for assistance. But I hope he's okay, and I hope he also learned a valuable lesson in all of this too.
Yeah. Florida is one of the few states that still don't have like really strict laws against the use of the smartphones while you're driving. I mean, we have like a really weak law in which if you were like texting, it has like a secondary offense, and like you get like a little ticket, like $20, but you have to be doing something else wrong at the same time, which is really, really bad. But I think, I mean, and you can, I'm sure you will think the same thing. I mean, you don't need laws. I mean, you just have to do the right thing. I mean, like, get away from the phone, like, pay attention, right, while you're driving.
Yeah, and this, those are, again, things that, we can control our own behavior. It's very, it's almost impossible to be able to plan on what another person's going to do. Yeah. And that's why it's so important to really have your as you're driving, have your undivided attention to what it is that you are doing, because you not only have to anticipate what you will do, but what others are doing in and around you.
Yeah. Well, Amy, I'm really happy that you're okay. I'm sorry that you went through this experience, but I guess like we learned everything, a little bit from everything. So really happy that you're okay, and hope to see you soon. And thank you for sharing your story, because it's very valuable for everybody. Okay.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Bye. Have a great day.
Este programa fue una producción de National Latino Broadcasting.